Chilling tales for dark nights.
Want to make sure you never miss a Chilling Tales for Dark Nights video again? Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to turn on notifications.
My Best Customer. Written by Geoff Sturtevant. Performed by Paul J. McSORLEY. Chapter 1. Orange Oak's Secret Man. Whoever once gave me that compliment, I've never forgotten it. I have forgotten, however, which one of these friendly young ladies gave it to me. After all, there have been quite a few since then. I've also forgotten who first told me how much tail delivery guys get out on the road. But I'll be damned, he was right on the money. I was barely a week into my new career before I ran into my first lonely, horny home shopping housewife. I'll tell you, it has to be the world's best kept secret. Otherwise, every man on earth would be lined up to do this job. It isn't all fun and games, of course. 8 years I've been doing this. The job has its perks, as I've already explained. But the work itself? Well, you can bet whoever called Christmas the most wonderful time of the year was no courier. The trucks aren't loaded with boxes. They're stuffed with them like big cardboard sausages. Looking in the back of an empty truck, it's easy to picture the packages neat and orderly on the shelves, with a nice clear path to walk down the middle. That's rich. In real life, you open the door, and the boxes are stacked like bricks up to the ceiling. We've got our little platitudes for this back at the hub. We say, "Man, you couldn't fit a pube in there," or "Man, you couldn't fart in that truck." But by now, only a week until Christmas, we're so worn out, the shop talk has given way to silence, and we're all just focusing on the finish line. Shit, I've been so busy, I can barely focus on my extracurricular activities. It's the home shopping fanatics that keep our trucks filled to the brim. Most of the lunatics manage to keep their addictions under control from January to November, but come December, all bets are off. 35 Marigold Street is home to one of my most prolific home shoppers, Kelly Dumont. She's got more money than she knows what to do with, a substantial inheritance I hear, and orders more crap than anyone in town. Every day the stuff shows up, gimmicky home and garden stuff, magic knickknacks, lawn gnomes, etc. Plenty of clothes too, but who knows what she does with the clothes. I've never seen her wear anything but the same tattered old nightgown day after day. She's always home, always has the TV on that home shopping channel. She's dead pale, sickly looking, always ripe. And she signs for her packages in these big capital letters with her filthy yellow fingernails. She doesn't talk much, but when she does, you can tell she's a little slow. Her girlfriend's no treat either, a town cop named Sheila, a bulldog of a woman. She's got skin like a newborn rodent, and this mottled, patchy scalp that'll turn your stomach when you see her without her hat on. They make a good couple, though. 500 pounds between the two of them, and about flush in the looks department. There are some lookers in this town, believe me, but Kelly and Sheila are sure not part of that club. The first time I saw Sheila was at the police station. I had a delivery for her there, and I recognized her name from all the stuff I brought to her house. Home shopping crap for Kelly, and religious literature stuff for Sheila. So I thought I'd be friendly and let her know I recognized her name. "Sheila Stone," I said. 35 Marigold Street, right? Kelly's my best customer. A note: most people are flattered when I recognize their names. It usually serves as an icebreaker. Sometimes we'll even get friendly afterwards. Of course, that's not what I was after with Sheila, and she sure as hell wasn't the type to get friendly with me either. But she wasn't flattered one bit either way. Her face went cold when I said it. Real cold, like a light behind her eyes went black. "What did you say?" she said. "I delivered to your house all the time. I recognized your name." "A north wind bringeth forth rain, and a gossiping tongue bringeth forth anger. So, maybe you should stop pecking your nose around town, fucko." I apologized and told her I'd stop being so nosy. Arguing over proverbs with an angry cop, I figured, would only earn me parking tickets. So it's a week to Christmas, and I've got this enormous box stuffed in my truck for 35 Marigold Street, addressed to Sheila. This'll have to be my very first stop of the day. I won't have any room to sort out my deliveries until it's out of the way. That's the way you do things during the holiday season. Deliver the big boxes first, and I need this one out of the way ASAP. I arrive at 35 Marigold at 9 a.m., and boy, is it cold. The bare branches all seem to be dipped in ice, and they scrape against the roof of my truck as I pull up to the curb. In an hour or two, I know I'll hear the icicles dripping to the pavement like little Christmas chimes all around town. But for now, Orange Oaks is just plain frozen. The easiest way to get rid of a box this big is to back right up to the house so you can yank the box out and push it right up to the garage. So I back down the long driveway, hoping to God that Sheila isn't at home so I can just leave the box at the door and get out of there uninsulted. Unfortunately, I see the garage door is already on its way up. I'm caught. I hop out of the truck, and there she is, Sheila Stone, resplendent in her enormous sweatsuit. My goal here is to keep the awkwardness to a minimum, so I turn on my patented Dave Bender charm. The plan is to ignore the elephant in the room, to pretend the uncomfortable exchange at the police station never happened. "Morning, Ms. Stone," I say. "I'm not used to seeing you in civilian attire." "You got my big box, I hope?" "That's the one," I say. "Biggest box of the day award goes to Sheila Stone." She is clearly unamused by my prattle. I lift the back door and step up onto the bumper to get a grip on the big box. The load shifted, though, and the box is wedged in there pretty good. I pull, but it barely budges. Shit, I was hoping to get this delivery over with as quickly as possible. "Let me handle that," Sheila says. "Get out of there." Have at it, I'm thinking, so I hop out of the truck, prepared to watch her make an ass of herself. But she rubs her fat mitts together, grabs the box, and I'll be damned, yanks it loose. She drags out one end of the long box and sets it on the ground. "Wow," I say, "you're a strong one." "A strong what?" She glares at me. "A woman?" "Well, I'd be surprised to see anyone do it that easily," I say. I'm sure it pleases her on some level to hear that, but she sneers. "Give me a hand putting it inside, huh? Not that I need it." "In the garage?" "Yeah, in the garage." We grab opposite ends, and she nods toward the house, insisting I go in first. "Just let me know when to put it down," I say, and we carry it in. Once I'm back against the wall, she says, "Right there's good," and I start to lower the box. And just as I'm getting ready to set it down, a nuclear torpedo explodes into my balls. It happens so fast, I don't know what to make of it. Before I know it, I'm clutching my crotch on the cold cement. I'm disoriented. Great, I'm thinking. I have a concussion. And then the daylight is shrinking away behind Sheila's massive silhouette, and the sound of chains are churning overhead. What happened? I'm still struggling to get air. The garage door clanks closed. Sheila is standing over me. So close I can smell her. I think I can smell her socks. She extends a hand. I start to reach for it, but now I see the gun. It takes a moment before I realize what's happening. A sickening, sour pill expands in my stomach. It had been no accident. She had done it to me on purpose. But why? "Sorry I dropped your box," I say. It was all I could think to say, my eyes never leaving the gun. "Get up." The words don't fully register. None of what's happening makes any sense. "Get up, fucko. Don't make me ask again. I don't tolerate non-compliance." Slowly I get to my feet, the dull ache in my groin spreading to my stomach. The barrel of the revolver follows me up. "Get your hands up." My hands are already up, but what had I done? Am I being arrested? "You've got the wrong guy," I say. "I don't know what you think I did, but I'm the wrong man." "Every man is the wrong man." Her hand looked to tighten on the gun's grips. "Okay, just take it easy." Her face contorts. She swings a fist, knocking a bunch of junk off a nearby storage shelf. Paint cans crash to the floor, one bursting open and leaking a pool of white paint. "Look at what you made me do. I ought to blow your balls off." I hadn't done anything. She knows that, doesn't she? That's not what this is about, is it? "All right," I say. "Sorry. Just don't shoot." "You better clean it up before I get mad." Before she gets mad? A voice comes from behind the garage door to the house. Kelly's voice. "Daddy?" "Stay inside," Sheila says. The door creaks open and Kelly peers in. I can't see her face, but I know she sees us. Sheila stomps on the floor. "I said stay inside." She shuts the door. Is Kelly in on this? Sheila levels the gun at me. "Do I have to ask you again, bucko? I said to clean up your mess. Now do it." She dips the barrel, indicating the spilled paint below. "Okay," I say. "No problem. Whatever you want. I just need a bucket of water and maybe a sponge and I'll clean it up no problem, okay?" She glares at me. "First off, don't talk to me like I'm some sort of nut job. Second, I don't have a goddamn bucket." Little dimples form at the corners of her mouth, but only for a moment. "Get back down there," she says. I get back on my knees, watching the gun follow me down. "Clean it up with your tongue." I look up at her. What makes her think that she can do this? Because she's a cop? Just because she's a cop doesn't mean she can mess with anyone she wants just because they pissed her off one time. This must be a joke, I'm thinking, but I can tell by her face that it isn't. "You'll never get away with this," I say. "I told you I don't tolerate non-compliance, fucko." She thumbs back the hammer. "Now do what I told you." "It's paint," I say. I'm stating the obvious, but it also seems obvious that no one should ever be in this position in the first place. "See this gun?" she says. "This is a .22. Shoots itty-bitty little bullets. I shoot tight groups at 10 yards at the range. This close, I can put all 6 in you without so much as nicking an artery. Know what that means?" She thinks she's goddamn Dirty Harry. If she's bullying me, it's one thing. But is she really crazy enough to... "That means I can make you do whatever I want. You're gonna do whatever I tell you eventually. It only depends on how bad you want it to hurt. Now do it." My eyes turn to the spill. It's old paint, coagulated and oily. A strong chemical smell wafts off of it. So what am I supposed to do? I can't entirely shake the idea that this is some kind of a joke. It's simply just too absurd. It can't actually be happening. She sticks the cold barrel against my forehead. "All right," I say. "I'll do it. I'll do whatever you want, okay?" I can't believe I'm about to do this, but I don't think I have a choice. What cop would risk losing her job by actually putting the barrel of a gun against someone's head without really meaning it? Take a deep breath and look down at the spill. That's right, fucko, she says softly now. And do yourself a favor. Watch your tone, because I get angry sometimes. Real angry. And you don't want to see me get angry. I lower my face into the paint. The fumes speak gales of poison chemicals. I use my lips to urge the paint back towards the bucket, but I keep my mouth tightly shut. Keep going, she says, a hint of sick amusement in her voice. Do it again and again. She just wants to humiliate me, that's all. She'll make me do this for a while and then she'll let me go. I'll let her humiliate me. Then I'll get back in my truck and leave. Suddenly, she grabs the paint can and hurls it away. It sails across the garage and hits the wall. Spring drips on the floor where it lands spinning. Startled, I look up at her. The paint's no good anymore, stupid. Never mind getting it back in the can. Eat it. The gravity around me seems to double. Images of warning labels flash through my mind, the kind of labels you see on paint cans. Harmful or fatal if swallowed, emergency poison control, etc. And she really expects me to eat it? Look, I'm sorry about that one time I annoyed you if that's what this is about, but I've learned my lesson, okay? She steps on top of my head, forcing my face into the mess. She pushes down harder, squashing my nose. I yelp into the bubbling paint. All right, stop. She lifts her foot and I push away from the floor. There's a swirl of blood in the white paint where my nose was. Red specks drip and blossom. It's broken. I felt it snap. You did it to yourself, stupid, she says. He who committeth adultery destroyeth himself. Now eat that paint or I'll kill you. I'm David Bender. I've been delivering in this town for 8 years now. Call me naive, unrealistic, good-natured, whatever. But not for 1 second did I ever expect to be kidnapped by psychotic lesbians on Christmas. Chapter 2. She made me eat the paint. I was sick midway through, which was somewhat a relief, until she forced me to eat that as well. Paint, vomit, blood. Sometime during the ordeal, I sort of separated from my body. It feels like a bad dream to me now. My plans to beat traffic out of here have fallen through. The big box I brought contained a cage, the kind of thing you'd use to crate train a big dog. Sheila watched me assemble it at gunpoint, and now I'm locked inside. I tried bending the bars, but they're too strong. It's a fine quality cage. If I manage to get out of it alive, I'll be sure to recommend it to my other customers. Shortly after she locked me in here, I heard the diesel engine of my truck fire up. My hope for rescue dissipated in a crunch of the gravel as it rolled around the garage and behind the house, where I knew no one would be able to see it. That was yesterday. I figure I've been sitting here for around a day. No evidence that anyone's looking for me. Not a siren, not a mention on the TV inside, only the constant quacking of salesmen on the home shopping channel. And to make matters worse, it's deadly cold. The door creaks open, and in comes Kelly. The wooden planks groan as she makes her way down the steps into the garage. She walks tentatively around the front of the cage, watching me guiltily, like I'm some sort of confined animal. Kelly, how long have I known you? How long have I been delivering your packages? She doesn't answer right away. It's like she's surprised that the thing in the cage is able to speak. A long time, she says. Thanks for that. You're welcome. Now, have I ever done anything wrong to you? She shakes her head. No, she says. So why are you doing this? Daddy's doing it, not me. I'm not doing anything. It's your house. I'm being held prisoner in your house. Sorry about all that. It's all right, Kelly. I don't blame you, but you have to let me out of here. Daddy said not to. Sheila? She kidnapped me. She broke my nose and made me eat poison. She's holding me captive. She's breaking the law. She seems confused. She's the police. She's insane. She's a criminal, and she's doing it in your house. So if you don't let me out of here, you're an accomplice. She looks confused again, but doesn't answer. I change tacks. Kelly, how long have we been friends? Friends? You're one of my best customers. Maybe my best customer of all. I see you almost every day. I consider that friends, don't you? For the first time ever, I see color seep into her pale cheeks. I suppose you don't think so anymore. It's all right. We're still friends. Still friends. I don't blame you for putting me in here, but you have to let me out. If you don't, what choice do I have but to blame you too? She frowns. Daddy said not to let you out. She said to give you a bath. A bath? She nods. A glint of hope returns. Whatever she's planning, maybe I'll find an opening to escape. And when I do, I won't fail. I'll get out of here, even if it means digging Kelly's eyes out of her head. I'm sizing her up as she's digging in a pile of junk in the corner. She's a big woman, but if it comes down to it, I'll run right through her. She finds what she was looking for and yanks it out of the pile. It's a coiled garden hose. She starts to unravel it. These old things get so stiff in the cold, she says. Kelly, you're not going to turn that hose on me, are you? That's what Daddy said to do. Kelly, I'll freeze. It's December. It's too cold. How about maybe a regular bath? Daddy said to use the hose. I'm pleading now. Kelly, listen. There has to be some other way. Won't Sheila be mad when I die of hypothermia? She appears uneasy. She squeezes her thin lips together and stomps out the side door of the garage. I hear her making some bizarre grunting noises out there, then the squeak of the spigot. My heart quickens at the thought of the cold water. Sure, I was looking for an angle to escape when I told her not to use the hose, but I also meant what I said. If she turns that hose on me, I don't know how much colder I can get before I... She comes back through the door with the running hose. Kelly, I'm your friend. You can trust me. And trust me, you don't want to do this. I have to do what Daddy says. Now go ahead. Undress. I promise I won't look. I don't have room in here to undress. Plus, if you won't open the door, how will I get the clothes out of the way anyway? She just stands there with the water splashing on the floor. A droplet hits my face. It's freezing. It's colder than freezing. It's liquid nitrogen. Finally, she shrugs. I guess you're right. I never thought of that. Relief. See? This is all wrong, Kelly. None of it makes sense. You have to let me out. Don't you see that? I guess you can leave your clothes on. I'm sorry. She turns the hose on me. The shock of the water is so jarring, I can't breathe. I try hiding my head from the water, but she makes a point of trying to get all the dry paint out of my hair. When she decides she's done, she goes back outside and turns off the spigot. She looks guilty when she comes back into the garage. Sorry about that, she says. My hand got wet. It's pretty cold. You must be pretty cold. I'm already shaking uncontrollably. I'm going to freeze, I manage. I said sorry. I have to warm up. You have to help me. I gotta see if it's okay with Daddy. Call her then to tell her I'm freezing. She doesn't like it when I call her when she's working. She stands there wringing her hands, this stupid look on her face. I knew she was slow to begin with, but I never would have guessed anyone on Earth was this flaky. She is utterly hateable. Chapter 3. I thought I had been cold before. I thought I'd been cold delivering packages out in this weather, but I had no idea what cold really was. I'm not shivering. I'm convulsing. My clothes are frozen. My hair's crisp with frost. I can't feel my fingers or my toes. I put my fingers in my mouth, and they feel like ice. I can't do it for long, or the pain hits like a clamp tightening down on the bones. Images of black fingers and toes, pictures I had seen of outdoor adventurers who had been lost in the wilderness, or mountain climbers who had been too long out in the snow. People who had lost their noses from frostbite. The soundtrack to this whole ordeal is the home shopping channel, like some sort of audio torture machine. All magical miracle products. The magic mop can soak up the Great Lakes. The magic scarf keeps you warm on Pluto and beyond. The magic pocket pole saw folds to fit in your pocket, cuts down giant sequoias in a single stroke. I'm shaken from my thoughts by the sound of a car pulling into the driveway. Not the loud warble of Sheila's Jeep, but a normal, regular car. I sit upright, knocking my head on the roof of the cage. Help! Help! In the garage! I've been sitting here trying to convince myself someone would come and find me soon. If they ask the guy who loads my truck in the morning, he'll have to remember that enormous box. They'd assume I had delivered that one first, and he'd remember the address on the box, or at least the street, and he'd tell them, and they'd send someone here to find me. Is this the guy? My rescuer? The garage door is on its way up, but silhouetted in the moonlight isn't the hero of the day. She's got a thumb tucked in her gun belt. The other hand dangles a nightstick. Truculently, she saunters over to the cage, a freezing breeze following her in. Sheila decided to stop by and check in on me. How thoughtful. I'm too cold to be scared. What could she possibly do to hurt me now? So shoot me, I'm thinking. Go ahead. I won't even feel it. Had your bath, I see. You must be chilly. I'm hypothermic. I need a doctor. As melodramatic as you are nosy. You should be a journalist for one of those satanic gossip magazines. And by the way, don't bother screaming for help. It'll do you no good here. Here or in the next life. No one can hear you, so save your breath. If I stay out here in this cage, I'm going to die. We're all going to die, stupid. It's what happens afterwards that's important. And what happens to you isn't going to be pretty. Her mouth twists into a sick grin. You'll remember this cold fondly from where you're going. Why are you doing this? Is that what your little whores ask you? Why are you doing this? Why are you turning Orange Oaks into the next Gomorrah? And you call me nosy? I snap. Her expression goes from righteous to murderous. She takes a few menacing steps towards the cage. It's my job to know what goes on in this town, fucko. I'm the law. And here you come every day with your smart remarks and your sweet talk. And packages from my girlfriend. And who knows what sort of devilish things you're thinking when you come here. Well, you've got more pressing matters now, don't you? I can't believe what I just heard. You actually think I've been hitting on Kelly? My best customer, she mocks. Oh, you're my best customer, Kelly Dumont. She can't really mean what she's saying, can she? She's just prodding me, trying to get me angry. And it's working. Defeated as I am, the absurdity of what I'm hearing flips my switch to rage. You don't even believe the bullshit you're spouting. You calling me a liar? A lying psycho, and you don't give a shit about Kelly either. Think I don't know about her money? Now let me out of this fucking cage, you cunt. Her eyes are wide as saucers. Why, you little fuck. It's all or nothing now. I grab the bars and pull with every molecule of exertion I can manage. I mean to tear through these bars and tear through Sheila. Nightstick or no nightstick, gun or no gun, I'm getting out of this cage right now. In my rage, I don't notice the nightstick coming down until it hits my frozen fingertips. Wood, fingernail, bone, and steel, like 10 lightning bolts. The fight drains from me in an instant. All functions cease. Chapter 4. I come back to life in new surroundings. I'm still shivering, but it's warmer now. The television is louder too. Order the highly collectible holiday candelabra set and receive a free gift. I'm inside the house. There's a staircase in front of me, a blacked-out window behind me, a laundry room off to the right. The same musty old air and mothballs smell I'm assaulted with when I deliver Kelly's packages. It occurs to me that Sheila must have carried the cage inside with me still in it. My mouth is gagged and it's difficult to breathe. I claw at it, but my fingers are nearly useless. The agony confirms my most recent memories. She smashed them with her nightstick. The crazy bitch crushed my fingers. One way or another, I've got to get this gag off. I try again to wedge my thumbs between the fabric in my cheeks, but I end up with my hands in my lap, waiting for the flames in my fingers to cool. It's impossible. I remember when Kelly turned the hose on me, I hated her even more than Sheila. Now there's nobody I hate more than Sheila. If the opportunity presents itself, I'll kill her. I make myself that promise. I tip onto my back and start kicking the bars. It's impossible to break the cage. I already tried to in the garage. I'm just calling for a little room service. After making a nice racket for a few minutes, I hear the floorboards creak in the living room. It's Kelly getting up off the couch. I'll bet she's upset she has to get off her ass. What if she misses the deal of the century? Slowly, Kelly shuffles across the house. She flips on a light and stands in the mouth of the hallway, regarding me again like a feral animal caught in a trap. "The collector's edition is on," she says. I point to my gag. I sign with my hands that I can't breathe. "What's the matter?" I thrust out my useless hands. After a minute, she seems to understand that I want the gag taken out. "Daddy said not to open the door." I make the sign for scissors. "Scissors? But those are good stockings." I snort through my nose, demonstrating how hard it is to breathe. I mime choking again. "If I cut it off, you promise to be quiet?" "Yes," I nod vehemently. "I guess it's all right. Hold on." She shuffles off, then comes back to the cage with a huge set of sewing scissors. "Come closer," she says. I press my face against the cage, and gently she slides one blade of the scissors between the gag and my cheek. She snips a few times, and it falls out of my mouth. She puts the scissors down on the floor and pulls the stocking out of the cage. "There," she says. "Thank you." "The stockings are ruined," she says. I want to scream at her. I want to tell her to just cut the shit and let me out, but I know it's not going to happen if I do that. She'll never let her guard down if I give her both barrels. God damn it, I'm a truck driver, not a fucking psychologist. "Sorry about your stockings, Kelly, but look at my hands." I hold out my battered hands. She glances blankly at them. "Kelly, I really need a doctor." "Daddy gets mad sometimes, but she doesn't mean it." Whether she meant it or not, she smashed my hands. I need some kind of medical care. A doctor, a nurse, a veterinarian, doesn't matter, but I need some help, okay? She just stands there looking at her feet. She feels guilty. I can tell she does. Kelly, I know you don't want to upset Sheila, but she's crazy. Can't you see that? I don't know, she says. I don't want to do anything wrong. I'm always making mistakes. Kelly, this is all a mistake. You can't kidnap people and feed them paint and torture them. You understand that, don't you? She was quiet, just staring guiltily at her slippers. How am I supposed to get through to her? Kelly, listen. Sheila is using you. She doesn't care about you. She's only interested in your money. You realize that? She's taken aback for a moment. That's not true, she says. She wants your money, Kelly. She doesn't care about you. She said she's trying to protect me. That doesn't make any sense. Protect you from what? From me? The color seeps into her cheeks again. It takes me a second to realize why, but when I do, I can hardly believe it. Does Sheila really think I have the hots for Kelly? From me? I asked. Kelly's face is mottled red. I'm about to assure her that nothing could possibly be further from the case, but I stop myself. Maybe that's not the best approach after all. I better go. The collector's edition is on. Wait, Kelly, just... She's already shuffling back down the hall. By the look of the sun through the laundry room window, it's early afternoon. I'm guessing I've got 6 hours until Sheila gets home. 6 hours to figure out a way to get out of here. My hands hurt so much I can barely think. I consider calling Kelly back to beg her for an ice pack, maybe a few aspirin, but I change my mind. I do wish Kelly was sharp enough to realize how crazy this whole thing was, but the fact that she's so easily distracted might offer my second best scenario for survival. On the floor, an arm's distance from the cage, lies this gigantic heavy set of sewing scissors. Chapter 5. I've been nice and quiet, as promised. I'm thinking of a way to get those scissors. Only hours earlier, I might have been able to get my fingers through the bars, but now they're swollen to twice their normal circumference. There's a way to do everything. I've always believed that. I just have to figure out what it is. I've got my clothes, I've got my shoes. I can pull out a shoelace, but what can I use as a hook? I try going into my pockets, but my hands are so swollen I can't get them in. I reach down to undo my pants, and right away it hits me. My work pants close with a hook and eye, no buttons. There it is, my hook. I just need to get it off somehow. My fingers are hopeless. Even if they were in their usual condition, I'd never be able to scratch through the durable stitching. I'll have to bite through it. It's murder untying the double-knotted laces of my boots, now twice as tight from being soaked and drying again, but I bear down and scratch apart the knots. Never before have I imagined the capacity for pain in each fingertip. Still, I work. Teeth gritted, the sound of some TV salesman barking in the background, I pull a lace through the eyelets. Repeating the process, I remove my other boot and slither out of my pants. Then I set to chewing at the polyester around the hook. Eventually, one side of the hook pulls out from the waistband. I see how it's sewed in now. There are 3 holes where it's threaded in. I work surgically on the strong thread, nibbling at it like a rodent. With a final bite, the hook pulls free. I hold it in my hand, my fingers pulsing like 10 little hearts. The curve of the hook is too tight to grab the handle of the scissors. I'll have to bend it open somehow. Using the eye still on the waistband, I hold the hook in my teeth and pull against it until I feel it bend. Once it's bent, I spit it out and put my thumbs in my mouth like a baby. As soon as I can stand it, I chew the end off my shoelace and unravel the thread at the end. Once I have enough length, I pick up the hook and with shaking hands try to guide some thread through an eyelet. It takes a while, but eventually I hit the target. Then I hear the creak of springs. Kelly is getting off of the couch again. She'll know something is wrong if she sees my pants are off. Quiet as I can, my heart hammering, I kick my legs into my pants and pull them back on. She's walking towards the hall. I grab my hook and lace and tuck them under my shirt and try to compose myself. The footsteps stop. It's quiet for a moment. Then I hear her voice from halfway across the house. "Yes, hello. I'd like to order the candy cane earrings and pendant set." "Yes. No, my information hasn't changed." I take a breath. I go under my shirt for my hook and lace and see I'd pulled the thread out in my panic. Now I'll have to get it back in. There's only a touch of light coming through the west-facing hall now, dark from the laundry room. I'm guessing it's 5 o'clock. I squeeze into the corner of the cage, into the slowly receding triangle of light. After a number of tries, I get the thread through again. I tie it to another fray of thread and double knot it and pull it tight with my teeth. And there it is, in the diminishing twilight, the product of my day's work. Now I set to hooking my fish. I toss the hook out over the scissors and drag it back. Kelly startles me by getting up again, but it's only to go to the bathroom. I keep tossing the hook, but it's proving to be tougher than I thought. Kelly gets up a third time, but I don't let it scare me now. I'm totally focused, in a kind of zen state. I need those scissors. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them. I just know that I need them. It's completely dark now, only a dim glow from the kitchen. I'm working by feel, casting out my line, slowly dragging it back, and over and over, and the hook finds resistance. Carefully I draw it in, and like music, the sound of metal dragging over wooden boards. Focus. "Hello? Yes, I'd like to order the stocking hangers." "Yes, can I get those in time for Christmas?" "No, my billing information hasn't changed." I reel in the lace, straining to see the shape in the darkness. I need it perpendicular to the cage. There's a trigger-shaped nub on one of the handles, leverage for an additional finger. If I can get it through the bars, I should be able to turn the scissors on end and pull them through. Then, disaster. The lace snaps back. I hear the tink-tink-tink of my little hook skipping across the floorboards. No, this can't be happening. I press my face against the cage. I see the scissors there. They're really close. It can be done, I tell myself. I have to get those scissors. And then I hear the Jeep. No, I'm not giving up. Frantically, I jam my swollen fingers through the bars. Pain explodes in my hand, but I bite my lip and push harder. I push my hand out to the heel of my palm, or it will go no further. I wiggle my fingers, feeling desperately for the scissors, but it's no use. My stomach sinks with failure, and with the failure comes the agony. The door opens. I attempt to pull my hand back through the bars, but they're stuck. There's no time. Suddenly, I realize what I've done. The light turns on. The heavy footsteps approach. Well, well. Caught in the act. Literally caught. My fingers stuck between the bars. I look up at Sheila, a kind of malevolent amusement on her face. "Find something you like," she says, and leans down to pick up the scissors. She snips the big blades a few times. Snip, snip, snip. "What do you think you're going to do with these? Make your great escape?" I don't bother to answer. Defeated, I just sit there. "Kelly, come here." Kelly comes in, immediately looking guilty. "You leave these here?" Kelly considers it a moment. She nods. "I swear you'd leave your ass behind if it wasn't attached to you. She stomps over to Kelly and slaps her hard across the face. No dessert for a week. Dejected, Kelly retreats back down the hall, but before she turns the corner into the living room, she steals a glance back at me. For just a millisecond, our eyes meet. And you. Wielding the scissors, she approaches the cage. There's no time to react, no way to defend myself. I'm a rodent caught in a snare. The horror as I feel the cold steel close around the tip of my pointed finger. The snap. The release of pressure. The pain. The next finger. And the next. And my hand is back inside the cage. Consciousness is slipping away. If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. Now that should teach you to keep your grubby fingers to yourself. And your eyes to yourself while you're at it. 4 bloody nubs around Sheila's tennis shoes like discarded cigar butts. All functions cease. Chapter 6. Day 3 in the cage. Kelly fed in a length of surgical dressing to wrap my hand, which I did myself the best I could. The bleeding took hours to stop and left me drained and weak. The floor of the cage is tacky with blood. The pain, the lack of sleep, and a nasty fever drained most of my strength, but not my resolve. I can't just sit here and wait to see what happens to me. I won't give up. Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up to Sheila thumping down the stairs. Shamelessly, she pulled down her pants and underwear and sat on top of the cage. Pungent piss drizzled down on my face. When she was done, she chuckled. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. Get the fucketh out of here, I said. She kicked the cage. Repent, fucko. Christmas Eve, you've got a big court date, and there's no public defender for the heathen. Sleep did not return. As the morning sun peeks through the window, I'm fully aware of how exhausted I am. I've had nothing to eat or drink for more than 3 days. It feels alien and bizarre to be both conscious and this exhausted at once. Christmas Eve. You've got a big court date, she had said. If I'm counting right, that's the day after tomorrow. If the dehydration and the fever don't get me first, Sheila means to kill me. A sacrifice to Jesus on his birthday? Is that what she's planning? When you're tired enough, when you're defeated enough, you start reconciling yourself to your situation. It's probably just my exhaustion speaking, but I find myself thinking no one's going to miss me when I'm gone. So does it really mean anything at all that I'm in here? Does it matter to the world that I'm going to die like this? I'm very, very tired. Chapter 7. One day left. I almost wish she'd just get it over with already. Kelly comes by to check on me. I don't know what time it is. How's your hand? She says. I look up at her, concern on her face, a kind of oblivious concern. I'm inclined to ignore her, maybe just flip her off with my stubby middle finger. But no, not yet. I have to keep trying. How are you? I reply. I'm shocked to hear my own voice. I've never sounded so frail to myself. Once she understands I'm referring to her being slapped by Sheila, her eyes turn to the floor. It was my fault for leaving the scissors out. I'm always forgetting things. It's not your fault. You don't deserve to get hit. No more than I deserve this. She gets mad sometimes. I noticed, I say, weakly lifting my hand. Kelly, This is your house. Why do you put up with anyone treating you like that? Hitting you, telling you what to eat? Why? She never told me what to eat. No dessert for a week? Why should anyone have the right to tell you that? She treats you like a child. She was quiet for a moment. That's not what she meant. Sounded pretty clear to me. It's not about what I eat. It's her way of saying she's not going to take care of my needs. Your needs? Every woman has needs, she says. She's blushing again. Oh, I say. So dessert isn't about what Kelly eats. It's about what Sheila eats. I try not to appear disgusted. My needs are very important to me, she goes on. So that's how she punishes me when I mess up. So why are you with someone who punishes you? I'm not the smartest, I know that. But I'm not stupid either. She's the only one that'll have me. I know that much. Aren't you afraid of her? Sometimes, but I'm also afraid of being alone. She protects me, and she eats dessert every day. Well, usually anyway. Again, I tried to ignore my imagination. I don't know what to say. Am I supposed to disagree? Tell her she's got all the options in the world? Even she would know that I'm bullshitting her. She'd never trust me after such a blatant lie. I'm sorry, I say. It was all I could think of to say. Strangely, I kind of mean it. I'm sorry too, she says. The tone explains it all. Sheila Stone might not be the boss of the police force. She might not be the boss of all the men she so reviles. But she's the boss of this household, and she's clearly the boss of Kelly. Because even Kelly Dumont understands that no one else would be willing to take that job. Kelly leaves the room, leaves me there wondering how I'm supposed to get her on my side. If all that's happened already hasn't been enough, what am I supposed to do? There has to be a way. She has to have a weakness. Something even greater than the fear of being alone. Chapter 8. It's early afternoon, Christmas Eve, the day of my big court date. Kelly is in the living room watching her shows. I'm lying here half-conscious, the sales commentary on the television weaving a weird thread through reality and the feverish dream world I slip in and out of. Shifting contexts. The dry eye onion chopper. Love onions? Hate chopping them? Why cry? With the dry eye onion chopper, you can have your onions and eat 'em too. Soups, omelets, casseroles, salads. And it doesn't stop there. Just watch how quickly it dices this tomato. The magic pocket pull saw. Why struggle with those hard-to-use, impossible-to-carry tools? The magic pocket pull saw folds to fit perfectly in your pocket, and the 10-inch blade utilizes shark tooth technology to cut on the pull stroke to easily slice through hard drywall, thick branches, even PVC pipe. I'm waiting for a news alert to cut through the monotony. Missing delivery driver. If anyone has any information, call 999-1234. Anything. But there's nothing. It's like I've suddenly become insubstantial. An inconsequential man. No one even notices that I'm gone. None of the women on my route notice I'm gone. There's no one back at my one-bedroom apartment waiting for me to return. It occurs to me that I've never let anyone become important enough to me to care if I disappear. Oddly, what Kelly said earlier begins to resonate with me. She's the only one I have. I'd give anything to have someone right now. Even someone as rotten as Sheila Stone. Just someone who cared that I'd disappeared off the face of the earth. I'm on my own. I've always been. But I've always made it work. And I have to make it work now. Kelly, I call. My throat is dry as sandpaper. I don't know why I'm about to do this. All I know is that I have to do something besides sit here and wait. I hear the creak of the couch, and then she comes. Kelly, my truck is full of all that stuff you like on TV. Since it's not getting delivered, you might as well help yourself to it. I sense a glint of excitement in her eyes, but it just as quickly goes out. I thought about that, but Daddy told me I can't. Why not? She said I better not. It's just sitting there for the taking. Daddy says she could get caught if anyone tracks any of the stuff to her. She wouldn't notice if you took just a couple of things, would she? She thought about that. I guess not, but even if I did, she has the keys. I know how to get into the cargo area without the keys, you know. You do? Listen, right next to the bulkhead door, there's a keyhole for the lock, but if you bump your fist against the wall right above that lock, it bounces up the latch. So if you pull the door and bump the wall just right, the door will pop open and you can get in. It's easy. She's so excited by the idea. I can literally see the effects of addiction taking over. A home shopping bonanza, just a few steps and a pound of a fist away. It's just too titillating to resist, even at the peril of Sheila Stone's wrath. Maybe I'll go try, she says, just to see. Go ahead, I say. It's all yours. A few minutes later, I hear the pounding on the bulkhead door behind the house. Bang, bang, bang. This goes on for a minute or two, getting steadily louder. Maybe someone will hear the banging. It's unlikely. The house is pretty well isolated from the other houses on the street, but there's always a chance. Eventually, the banging stops, and I know she's gotten the door open. I know she's back there with her eyes spinning. It must be like a little kid in a toy store for the first time. Home shopping addict's heaven. It's quiet for 20 minutes or so, and then she comes back inside, hopeless to conceal her excitement. There's so much stuff, she says. I got a salad chopper. I got a jeweled bracelet. At least someone can enjoy all that stuff, I say. Can I go look again? She asks. Of course, I say. Why not? I want to, but what if Sheila finds out? You can just say you ordered it. She's not going to know you went in the truck. She has the keys, remember? If she finds anything, I could just say I bought it, she says. That's right, I say. Because she's got the keys. That's right. And you promise you won't tell her? Of course not. I'm on your side, Kelly, not hers. I don't like Sheila. I like you. Kelly doesn't exactly blush when she blushes. It's like her cheeks and nose become marbled with blood. All right, I guess I'll have another look. Enjoy, I tell her. You deserve to treat yourself once in a while. Kelly is out there a long time. I doubt all of this is going to do me any good, but it's worth a try. After all, it's all I have to give her. I can't offer her companionship. I can't take Sheila's place. All I have is a truck full of the drugs she's addicted to. Funny to think of it, too, in this instance. She's chosen the drug over Sheila. Eventually, she comes back inside, her pockets stuffed with goodies. She looks at me quietly for a moment. Why are you being so nice? She asks. I don't know if I should say. What is it? You're my best customer, Kelly. She smiles and looks away. You're just saying that. Sheila was right about me. She knew you're my favorite customer. She's jealous. Kelly's cheeks were mottled red again. She does get jealous. Do you think less of me? I ask. No, she says. I just thought you'd never be so nice to a girl like me, and especially not after this. You've always been nice to me, Kelly. You didn't do this to me. Sheila did. I know my future might ride on the next question, but I have to ask it. Don't you like me too, Kelly? At all, I mean? A strained silence while she decides how to answer. I told Sheila I thought you were cute. I think that's how this whole mess started. That's why she did this? Are you mad at me? I'm actually kind of flattered, I tell her. Really? I'm happy you like me too. I didn't know you were into boys? Yeah. I guess I like both. Sheila says I'm just confused, but I've always kinda liked both. I can't believe it. Of all the ironic things, Kelly Dumont, of all people, goes both ways. And I could tell by her body language that she was telling the truth. That's when I decide to play my last card. Kelly, let me out of this cage and we can be together. I'll protect you. I'll be nice to you. I won't be like Sheila. I'll be your man. There's a pained look on her face, a look of regret. But I can't. Sheila will be so mad. I didn't expect her to say yes. I'm only setting up my final attempt. Then, at least let me do something for you. For me? What is it? I want to eat dessert. Her face freezes. For a moment, I think she could react a number of ways. She could run out of here screaming. She could politely decline my offer. But I can see the addictive part of her. The same part that can't stop home shopping. The same part with these needs she mentioned to me. I can see it taking over. You want to do that for me? She says. I'm good at it, I say. You know that, don't you? I bet you are, she says, her voice cracking. She's blushing now, blushing deeply. Her eyes are glassy. She's wringing her hands. I'm really good, I say. You'll never forget it. I've never seen a woman react to the prospect of dessert the way she is right now. It's like dangling a filet mignon in front of a tiger. But I can't let you out, she says. Sit on top of the cage, I say. Just pull those down and sit right here. I've got enough room between these bars. It isn't long before she starts fiddling with the button on her jeans, and I'm telling myself I'd rather eat a can of old paint. Maybe have my fingers crushed again. Maybe worse. It's the worst thing I'll ever have to do in my life. She positions herself over the cage and sits down, already dripping wet. It's a deadly assault on all 5 senses. Don't tell, she says weakly, and I know she couldn't have resisted if she wanted to. There's no helping herself. She needs me to do it, and she needs me to stay quiet. I won't, I say, and driven only by a primal will to live, I set to work at the most distasteful job I have ever done. Being a courier, I think, from some distant, quiet place in my mind, sure isn't all fun and games. Chapter 9. The Jeep rolls over the gravel like an execution van. I sit there in my cage waiting for my imminent release. One way or another, I'm getting out of here soon. Most likely dead. But if that's the way it's going to happen, I'm not going to make it easy for her. It's been fun, fucko, but I'm afraid you've outstayed your welcome. She's back in her sweats, looking and smelling as awful as ever. This evil smirk on her face, just smeared with excitement. She's been looking forward to this. A question occurs to me. What leads a person like her to take such pleasure in hurting a guy like me? whichever way this ends up, I really want to know. What's wrong with you? I say. I mean, what the hell is really wrong with you? There's rage in her face again, but it quickly turns to that sick grin. Typical of a heathen. You think it's your job to be judge and jury? Well, cast the beam out of thine own eye first, fucko. Sheila kicks the cage, sending me against the back wall. Then she grabs hold of the bars and hoists the cage up in the air. I can't believe how strong she is. Suspended there, she says to me, "Let's get some fresh air, shall we?" She dumps me and the cage out on the cinder block patio in the backyard. I'm assaulted by the strong odor of gasoline. Then I see the can. My heart rate doubles. No, not like this. We're gonna have a little barbecue, fucko. It's only gonna be a little warm-up compared to where you're going. Where's the mercy? I say. What? She glares at me. The mercy. You're doing this because you hate me. I understand that. Because you think I've been hitting on your girlfriend, which isn't even true, but you think you're perfect? That you're not going to be judged yourself? We're all going to be judged, she says. So, how do you think this is going to look for you? Torturing and killing someone, not even giving me the chance to change. Trying to teach me a lesson is one thing, but that's not what you're doing. You just want to kill me. How can you be doing God's work? You only want to deliver me into the hands of the devil. In the hands of the devil is where you belong. I'm only expediting the process. I'm cleaning you off of God's earth. So, what about you? Are you going to have a chance to change, or should you just go ahead and join me yourself? I've been serving God while you've been out whoring around town. For such persons do not serve our Lord Christ, but their own appetites. And by smooth talk and flattery, they deceive the hearts of the naive. So, what makes you think for a minute that I plan to join you? Convenient how you memorize everything in the Bible, except for the parts about homosexuality. She has no answer for me. I didn't think she would. And you've got nothing to repent for? I say. Well, what if I meant to repent? What if it's God's plan for me to be saved after all? If you kill me, you're standing in the way of God's plan. And then you can add that one to your list, can't you? Shut your mouth, she says through her teeth. Homosexuality, murder, and who knows what else. That's using your head, Sheila. You sound like heavenly material to me. That may have been a bit much. That same look in her eyes, like the lights go black. You think I'm like your naive girlfriends? Like Kelly? You'd like to defile all the women in town, but you can't defile me. Angrily, she yanks down her sweatpants. I defile you. She sits on the cage, the bars creaking under her weight. I defile you, she repeats. But I've been defiled enough. This is just what I've been waiting for. I move quickly. I thrust upwards into the roof of the cage. The impaling blow meets no resistance until the hilt of my hand hits the steel bars. For a moment, time itself seems to come to a halt. Performing the act on Kelly, I'd had her distracted enough to hook a belt loop of her jeans down by her ankle. Dragging it closer to the bars, I got a finger into the pocket, then 2 fingers. Doing the most inspired work I could, she didn't even notice as I guided the knurled plastic handle between the bars and into my cage. I didn't even have to look at it. I knew what it was by the feel of it. I had heard the infomercial 1,000 times. the magic pocket pull saw, folds to fit in your pocket. The 10-inch razor-sharp blade with piranha tooth technology cuts on the pull stroke to slice through the toughest materials with ease. Drywall, wood, PVC, and much, much more. It's too dark to know exactly where the blade is right now, but I know that all 10 inches of it are inside Sheila's stone. And I know those serrated teeth are angled downwards, poised to do what they were designed to do, to cut on the pull stroke. And with all the force I have left, I lean against the saw blade's teeth and pull. The tearing flesh feels like the ripping of a burlap sack. A rain of hot fluid issues from above, and this time I know it isn't just piss. The noise that comes out of Sheila is burning liquid astonishment. She rolls off the cage and thumps onto the cinder blocks, some of them audibly cracking. She's wailing in some preposterous language. She's speaking in tongues. I glance down at the saw blade, ribbons of gore dangling from the teeth, shining wet red in the yellow light of the porch. I want to throw it away, as far away as I can, but I resist the urge. I cling to it. I worked hard for it. It's mine. Daddy? Kelly turns the light on, illuminating a scene so grisly I can barely believe I had anything to do with it. Sheila lay convulsing on her side, pants around her ankles in an expanding pool of blood. Gouts of it cascading from her crotch, soaking into the porous brick. Kelly was unable to speak. She held the door to steady herself. Go, Kelly. Call 911. Kelly looks at me, then Sheila. I understand her predicament. If she calls, I'll be found. She'll have betrayed Sheila's wishes. But if she doesn't call, her girlfriend will just die right there on the patio. Kelly! She looks at me. Her face is so ghostly white, I'm afraid she'll faint. Kelly, it'll be all right. I know it doesn't seem that way, but it's going to be fine. You have to call 911. She's still reluctant, standing there with her lips contorting like little pink worms. What happens if I call for help? She says. I can see she's disoriented and confused. The paramedics will come and help her, I say. What will happen to you? What does she want to hear? That they'll free me? That they'll leave me here in the cage? That I'll stay with her either way? I consider my words carefully. After a moment, I find my reply. From now on, you won't have to worry about being alone anymore. It wasn't a lie. They'd never let her out on her own again. Fucko. It's Sheila. She's getting to her feet. Streams of blood pour down her legs and into her sweatpants, still down around her knees, but she doesn't seem to care. Her eyes aren't hers anymore. She's possessed. She screams, charging the cage. The impact is like a lion charging his prey on the Serengeti. Depart from me, ye cursed! She slams the cage. My face hits the bars, and with a grunt, I'm lifted right back into the air. Into everlasting fire. I'm bracing myself for the next impact, but there is a pause. Suddenly, she drops the cage. I crash to the ground, but not so hard this time. I smell gasoline again. Sheila turns around, her arms sprawled like a bear. The back of her sweatshirt is soaked, and I smell right away that it's gasoline. My vision clears, and there's Kelly, holding the gas can, an expression on her face somewhere between guilt and defiance. I can't believe it. Kelly has turned the corner. I won't let you hurt him anymore, she says. Sheila balls her fists, blood still pouring from her undercarriage. She's shaking with fury. Possessed, standing only by some crazy force it isn't even in me to comprehend. You bitch, I should have known. After all I've done for you. No dessert. No dessert ever. She charges Kelly. Kelly, I see, who has her finger on the trigger of the safe T-bone barbecue lighter, lights your barbecue from a safe distance, the first time, every time. Say goodbye to singed eyelashes, no more dangerous flare-ups. Lots of lighter fluid? No worries. Light your barbecue from 2 feet away with a telescopic stainless steel tube. Crazy lesbian psychopath? Set her on fire without so much as an errant spark. Sheila goes up with a consuming thwomp. A screaming, twisting fireball. She spins, falls to the ground, begins rolling around. She crashes into the side of the cage. Flames finger their way through the bars. I push myself backward as far as I can. She springs up suddenly and sprawls on top of the cage. A shred of burning material falls through the bars and lands on my chest, and I swat it away. I can smell the flesh burning, mixing with the smell of the gas. She flails at the bars, pounding, charring black before my eyes. Pounding, pounding softer. Then she stops. Softly beyond the crackling flames, I hear Kelly weeping gently. Chapter 10. So I suppose you'll want to know what happened after that. I don't know if Sheila was still alive or not when the paramedics got there. One cop saw it halfway through the hasp of the lock before they thought to check Sheila for the key. Turns out she had it right in her pocket. A paramedic in the ambulance asked me what had happened back there. It's all a little foggy at this point. Between the dehydration and the drugs they were pumping into me, I doubt I said much coherently at all. I think I had some uncharacteristically kind things to say about gimmicky TV products. After all, someone believed in these ideas enough to invest the money to produce and market them. Someone, for example, knew the value of a good pole saw. He understood, too, that a pole saw was too long to comfortably carry around in your pocket. The answer to this issue was, and is, the Magic Pocket Pole Saw. It's a fine tool, much better than you'd expect from a mail-order show. I've since recommended it to many fellow delivery guys, and I happen to know for a fact that they carry them around in their trucks. I've been delivering in Orange Oaks for over 8 years now. Funny how much you learn about a town delivering packages there day after day. Know how they named the town Orange Oaks? Most people think it's the color of the foliage in autumn, but it's not the leaves, it's those clusters of orange mushrooms that grow in the crotches of oak trees. Chicken of the woods, they're called. Funny name for a mushroom, huh? Driving around the same streets every day, it's like you've got your finger on the pulse of the town. You can sense the collective feeling of the community when people are cheerful, when they're stressed out, when they're excitable, etc. Now that I'm back to work, everyone seems a bit distracted. It must be strange to see me back in the driver's seat. The town is just a little quieter, like someone turned down the volume a bit. Or maybe it's just that no one starts talking until they see my brake lights are safely down the street and out of listening distance. They all know what happened to me, the basics of it anyway, but no one mentions it. They just peek down at my gloved hand and use their imaginations. Last I heard, my best customer is in some institution a few towns over. I try not to think about her, but when I do, I don't really feel resentment. For some reason, I just feel kind of bad. The house has been listed for sale since they took her away, but so far no offers. I hope they let her watch the shopping channel in there, wherever she is. It's springtime now. Orange clusters in the old oak roots and yellow tide lines of pollen smeared across the asphalt point the direction to my next delivery. Young couples in shorts and skirts meander down Main Street with their ice cream cones and milkshakes. I toot my solitary horn. I don't linger so much at my customers' front doors these days, but that's my choice as well as theirs. My lingering days are gone the way of my fingertips. Besides the fact that no one wants to be groped by my stumpy hand, it wouldn't feel the same for me either. Not in any sense of the word. I haven't sworn off of women or anything, it's just they don't appeal to me the same way they used to. I can't decide if I've failed them or if they've failed me. Maybe both. One day I'll meet someone different, someone who's been failed herself, someone looking for another failure to team up with, to be loyal to. It must be nice to have someone like that. Even Kelly Dumont once had someone a little like that. Is it unreasonable to think that Orange Oak's secret man might settle down someday? Who knows? Trust me, stranger things have happened.
Chilling tales for dark nights.